Hi, I'm GNT and today I'm going to take you through the side kick. This is very nostalgic for me as this was the first tutorial and the second video I posted over 5 years ago. Now that tutorial was good for its time, but I know I can make a more efficient one with extra information and better visuals now. Okay, so the easiest way to learn a side kick is to go into a parallel position and to look in the direction of your dominant leg's side. In martial arts, this position is called a side stance, and it's great because the shoulder, hip and heel are already in line for your side kick. Essentially, if I lift my leg in and extend out to the same alignment, I have a side kick. Now there is obviously a little more to it than that, but if you have the correct alignment when you kick, it will travel directly straight, which in my opinion is the most integral part to understand for this technique. We want it to travel in that straight line because it's direct, and when in correct balance, our body weight is behind the kick. Whereas kicking off center, some energy is lost, going to the side, or even scuffing off your opponent, as we won't be able to strike them cleanly. To know whether you are keeping the correct alignment, film yourself kicking towards the camera or kick directly at a mirror, but not too close. If your butt is sticking out, then work on correcting it, as it means you are losing force traveling in that direction. You can do this by holding onto a wall and extending the kick slowly, focusing on keeping the heel, hip and shoulder in line when you extend. Then as you progress, do it faster, and then eventually without holding onto a wall. To do the kick in the air, transfer weight onto the back leg, lift to a chamber position and extend the leg back to the straight alignment. If you are a beginner, start off low and build the height up as you progress. The common mistake when first learning is just to fling it out and rush. But if you want the really good side kick, it doesn't work like that. Slow it down, work at it and progress, as understanding the mechanics of the kick takes time and hard work. The knee position is very important. We want it to point directly to the side when we chamber, as it will bring the hips across, which will break alignment, but then you are able to drive your hips and body weight back to the alignment when extending. This will create more momentum and in turn power. This is why most instructors say to pull your chamber as close to your chest as possible. That will create more distance for acceleration and in turn make it more powerful. But it does sacrifice speed, so understanding when to load fully and slightly to make it faster in different situations is key to connecting with the strike. If the knee is pointing upwards, it changes the angle of the foot when you extend. You'll strike more diagonally, which is less likely to creep under your opponent's guard and penetrate into the opponent or target. When striking, tense your foot down slightly and lead with the heel to expose the blade more and to protect the toes. This will mean you connect with the blade or heel on impact, and in doing so, it can creep under an opponent's guard more easily and penetrate into the body, causing more damage due to the low surface area. Whereas striking with the flat of the foot has more surface area, which pushes but doesn't penetrate. Now that's good for moving people away, but that's a different kick, a side pushing kick. Blading the foot is a common struggle, so if that's the case for you, click the card and watch my video for a breakdown and drills on how to blade your foot. When striking, the base foot turns to create more momentum and to thrust the hip into the kick, which will give you more power. It should almost turn to the opposite direction of where you are kicking. It's a very easy mistake to make, and people cut the power right down by not turning it. There is still power, but it's limited and much weaker than using my whole body. As you kick, try not to lean back too much, as your weight won't be behind the kick. It will be lost going backwards and down into the ground, making the kick weaker. Also, when you make impact, the force is more likely to come back into you, potentially knocking you out of balance. Swinging the kick too high will also create the same problems and potentially scuff up the target, or you may even damage or break your foot on the opponent's elbow. Instead of swinging or leaning too much, keep your body up and kick straight into the target, so it is a stronger and more efficient technique. If you struggle with the flexibility aspect, my tutorials on stretching and leg control will definitely help you. It also helps if you can fold your body into your hip. This specific stretch will definitely help. When experienced, you can do a controlled lean though. This will mean you are leaning, but your body weight is still over your leg and behind the kick. This will keep the power and will help avoid counterattacks from an opponent whilst giving them less targets as well. With that being said, try not to lean at all when first learning, so you have a better understanding of the move before progressing. Target areas. When not in sparring, we can kick below the belt, so aiming just above the knee joint. To jar or potentially hyperextend and snap the leg is a good target area. It's more practical in a street fight, mainly due to them usually being at close proximity. Therefore, it can be deceptive, as the opponent will most likely be looking more to your face than your legs. Another advantage is that it's quick, and if it doesn't cause a lot of damage, it will normally at least offset an opponent's balance, and then you can follow up with a technique. For midsection, if they are square, go for the gut, the stomach to fold or wind them. If side on, then the ribs. Now for aiming higher than that, I don't really recommend it as the kick is most effective at midsection, but if you do, you can aim for the throat, chin or the philtrum. After the strike, mainly for Taekwondo and sport, you want to fall back to chamber so you can kick again. This gives you so many options and combinations when you have good balance and control. Now for outside fighting or full contact, keeping the leg up is considered not powerful enough for the follow-up and very high risk, as the base leg can be taken away. So instead, some will retract before putting down and some will actually land forwards in balance without retracting, as it's quicker to follow up with their next technique. When you understand the side kick from a side stance, you want to learn how to do it from a fighting stance. Now you can do this by moving the front foot across first, then glide or skip into the kick. You can also get into position by moving the back leg. I recommend disguising the movement by adding a technique beforehand or by moving into a position as you counter. When doing the kick off the rear leg, just turn your foot and bring the leg around to create the same position you had when doing it off of the lead leg. There is a version of bringing the knee directly forwards and turning into the kick rather than taking it around to full chamber, so it's much faster, but it will sacrifice power. When you are confident with the technique, try to add different movement and strike from other positions. You can do this by learning to skip or glide forwards to be more aggressive, close the distance and create more power. You can travel backwards or laterally to counter, and so on. This way you are more diverse and you can use the kick in almost any situation. Speaking of being diverse, it's important to drill both sides. My right leg is my dominant leg, but I try to drill my left leg equally. This way, if it's ever hurt, I could take it behind to protect it and use the other to protect myself. When drilling the weaker leg, treat it the same way. None of the points change, it's just the opposite side. And if you do practice both, you will also get more flexible as you stretch the base leg a lot as you kick. This concludes my tutorial on the side kick. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, to support us by purchasing an official Team GNT t-shirt, and to follow me on my other social media. Thank you for your support. Team GNT, peace.